A WWE announcement has been revealed. We're going to talk about that and the significance behind it. Also, a new WWE trademark that basically tells you something really cool is coming soon. And yes, we are going to talk about a TNA tag team pitched for WWE. If you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button and ring that bell. This way you never miss a video on the channel. I'm going to keep you updated with everything that has to do with professional wrestling. Like this story right here, the Hardy Boys have reportedly been pitched for WWE's NXT and TNA Invasion angle. Now, keep in mind, we have seen the Hardys appear due to their partnership with WWE and TNA, but we did not see the Hardys. We did not see the Hardys invade. Okay, let's just be real on that. We did not see them invade, and that was kind of weird because they are two of the top stars in TNA. But they obviously have a rich history within the WWE, and that's what makes things complicated. However, according to a new report from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, the Hardy Boys have been pitched to appear as part of the ongoing Invasion storyline. Now, the angle, which saw a large group of people, invade the company, it's something that they have planned for a long time. This Invasion angle is not expected to just end at Bound for Glory or at Victory Road or anything like that. I mean, this is something that WWE and TNA are working up to. And the Hardys make a lot of sense to be in this. And one thing that I really wanted to point out, because I have seen the comments on YouTube, I've seen the comments on Twitter, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, look at all the people that invaded WWE. They are former WWE stars, right? They're not really TNA because they're from WWE. I actually think that adds a really cool component to this because you could do like the anti-company thing. Like, hey, we were part of WWE. You didn't give us an opportunity in this company. We had to go and make it work elsewhere. And we went to the company that believed in us, which is TNA. And I think if you kind of put that into storyline context, it could be a sweet idea. And the Hardy Boys is one that's really interesting is because they are legendary. They've had multiple stints in WWE. They've been multiple champions in WWE. And the one thing that kind of makes me interested in this is the Hardys on TNA television are baby faces, right? Are TNA the baby faces in this invasion angle? Is WWE the heel? I think that is one of the most interesting aspects to this entire storyline. And that's one of the biggest things that I think deep down inside makes me intrigued because you're going to see heels aligned with baby faces taking on a company where heels are also aligned with baby faces. To me, there's something about that that's very significant and very fun. And I think we could potentially see a ton of swerves along the way, which is something that I personally am looking forward to. I personally look forward to seeing how they go about it and what they end up doing. But me personally, man, I have no idea what to make of this other than what is to be done long term, which we got to talk about it. WWE Invasion. WWE has filed for the trademark of Invasion, and clearly they have a long-term plan here. So WWE has filed a new trademark that is obviously going to make people go crazy. It's going to make people think about this a lot. But on September 24th, late last night, WWE filed for a trademark for the word invasion, which is used for a wide range of entertainment services. Obviously, WWE just got invaded by TNA, so WWE having an Invasion PLE would be really dope, especially if it's on Peacock, especially if we get the TNA announcement that they're on Peacock. I mean, this is going to be a very interesting thing that we got to pay attention to, but WWE and TNA has to have some sort of long-term plan. So as I've said earlier in the video, we don't really know what the plan is. We know that it's going to go further than Bound for Glory. We know it's going to go for a while, but what does it lead up to? And I think WWE having some sort of payoff in this invasion angle makes a lot of sense. I've seen a lot of people clamor for the idea of War Games. And I really wanted to touch on this because WWE Survivor Series will be doing War Games for the main roster. I don't necessarily want to see War Games for NXT. However, one thing that I do really, really want to see, which is something we haven't seen in a long time, and if there's a company that can make it happen, it's WWE and TNA together. Why not a Lethal Lockdown match? Why don't we get Lethal Lockdown on WWE Invasion? This is a TNA match type that I think has become so legendary and so respected and something that's been heavily missed for a long time. I think if you really want to have a payoff, you do the Invasion storyline, You do a pay-per-view called Invasion, and then you have a lethal lockdown match, and that includes your top stars for NXT and your top stars for TNA. To me personally, that is kind of the route that I would go. And I also want to mention, when you think about this long term, when you think about TNA and NXT, really the conversation isn't so much how should you build the Invasion storyline, it's how do you go back to a partnership after the storyline. That's probably the biggest question mark that I have throughout all of this, because obviously if TNA is getting a new TV deal and they're going to be on an associated WWE network, you know, obviously there has to be something, right? And I'm very curious to see how they could potentially go about that, but we don't really know. But I do know that TNA Invasion could be a very, very smart thing for both companies. The ratings this past week were very good. There seems to be a lot of interest there. There seems to be a lot of conversation there. And I think deep down inside, this is going to be one of those things that people genuinely get excited for. But what do you do after you do the Invasion PLE? And I think that's a very big question. Guys, we should talk about it. WWE has officially announced Evolve Succession. It's the first premium live event on Tubi, and this is going to be for the Evolve show. Stevie Turner, who is the prime minister of Evolve, announced this on this week's episode of Evolve. And we know that the Evolve men's and women's world championship will be defended on this night. But I have some questions. So WWE made this announcement. We don't know if it's taking place at the Performance Center. We don't know if it's going to be live, which I'm going to assume it won't be because it is on Tubi. But what are they going to do to make this show feel a little bit different from every Wednesday episode of Evolve? And that is the big question mark that I have here. And I think it is a very valid question. I think it is a question that definitely needs to be answered. Are you going to allow for an actual crowd? You know, Evolve doesn't really have an actual crowd. Is that something that they'll potentially do? Are you going to change the stage design and the slightest? What are you going to do to make this feel a little bit more of a bigger deal? I think PLEs, especially in this case where it's on Tubi and it's free, I love it. It's a cool thing, right? It's a premium event. There's no additional charge or anything like that. I think it's really dope. It's very reminiscent of the early days of NXT back in the day. But to me, the way that I'm kind of looking at this is, what are you going to do differently? And I think that right there is probably the most important part of this conversation, is what are you going to do differently? If it's anything that is the same of what you're currently doing, I don't think it works out. But I think you could generate a little bit of interest if you do decide to do something different here. I don't know if WWE Evolve will ever become a traveling brand. I don't know if that will ever be the case. But if you start knocking these PLEs out of the park, it's a potential possibility long term. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching. Peace.